Well, two of the most anticipated games of 2025 have dropped in the last couple of months, and fans have been able to get their hands on both of them. Both games follow the same general concept of open world RPG setup. Assassin's Creed Shadows was created by Ubisoft with a budget of $250 million. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was made by Warhorse Studios and was created with a much smaller budget of around $40 million. Having played and reviewed both games, in my opinion, one stands head and shoulders above the other, and the gaming world is in genuine agreement. IGN gave Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 a 9 out of 10, compared to the 8 that they gave to Shadows. Google reviews come in at 4.2 for Kingdom Come Deliverance and 2.8 for Shadows. Even Metacritic scores go in Kingdom Come Deliverance's favour, with the game receiving an 88 and Shadows an 82. Everyone, it appears, sees Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 as the better title, except for Eurogamer, who gave the game a low score of 3 out of 5, which is an absolute outlier in all the other reviews. 3 out of 5 is like a 60 out of 100, a really bad score, as in they considered the game unacceptable, whereas they gave Shadows a perfect 5 out of 5, suggesting that the game could not have been improved in any way whatsoever. If you took out Eurogamer's scores, the Metacritic score difference would be a lot higher. They unfairly pulled Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 down from a 90 plus score and unfairly pulled Assassin's Creed Shadows up. It's clear when you listen to both of these reviews, there's a lot of bias cooked inside. Honestly, they should do better. But anyway, the bottom line is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 scored better across the board, and having played both for many hours, I've managed to summarise a few ways in which Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 outshines its Ubisoft competitor. But the crazy thing is, this really shouldn't have happened. A few years ago, Warhorse were asking for crowdfunding just in order to have enough money to make the first game. They didn't even have a studio. Ubisoft are one of the most successful companies in the industry, at least financially. So in this video, I will explain all the ways in which Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 outshined Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I will also explain how it happened and why it defies the odds. Quick side note, if this is your first time here, please consider subscribing. I have a huge video I'm working on that you won't want to miss regarding a competitor to the Elder Scrolls 6. Anyway, let's get right into it. So first of all, let's start with the writing. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2's narrative continues the journey of Henry, a blacksmith's son, from the first game as he seeks vengeance and navigates the complexities of a war-torn realm. The script encompasses over 2.2 million words, surpassing the previous record held by Baldur's Gate 3. The script allows for a richly detailed story with mature themes and complex characters, where player choices significantly influence the unfolding of events. The story takes the player across 2 regions and keeps the player moving forward. There are moments that leave you on edge, moments where you feel sad, and some parts that make you laugh out loud. The game slowly builds up tension, eventually leading to a huge climax that lives up to the billing. The writing and Henry's ability to change it with his decisions makes this game worth replaying. There are many side quests, but the main story is always there to push the player along and has many memorable sections along the way. It has arguably one of the most memorable stories in recent gaming. On the other hand, Assassin's Creed Shadows tried another approach. The game starts you off as Yosuke and then Maui. Although the prologue starts strongly with linear storytelling, beautiful cutscenes and some engaging writing, once the player passes this part, things start to lose focus. Essentially, the story just breaks into a huge bounty board, where players run across the map tackling one person at a time. Although it sounds like a cool concept, it actually falls flat in many places, with no unique cutscenes or build-ups to some of the assassinations. In the game's attempt to make the story last longer and pad it out, it leads to moments where the player will have to do many extra steps just to accomplish one task. For example, I had to recruit a monk onto my team for a big battle. He said, well, in order for me to work for you, I lost a statue, so you need to go get the statue. So I went and got the statue, came back, gave the statue, then we were able to work together. It's things like this that drag the story on and add extra steps that really lose momentum. And due to the fact that the player can split their time between two main characters, it sort of loses its flow, and this also weakens the story as one of the two characters feels out of place and unnecessary. Although decision making is there, it's more of an illusion, and the story cannot really be changed. For more details on that, check out Big Dan Gaming's video where he summarized it better than I can. Although Assassin's Creed Shadows is not Ubisoft's worst written game, it still suffers from the usual Ubisoft problems of trying to stretch out the story longer than it needs to be, thus watering down the quality. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has the better story as its main plotline is more structured, and although its open world has many things to do, if the player sticks to the main story, they will always be immersed. The open world is a bonus in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Whereas in Assassin's Creed Shadows, it's a requirement. Now before we go on to the next point, a quick word from today's video sponsor, Instant Gaming, and they save you money on video games. Due to the fact they get their keys directly from the source, they're able to offer games for far less than retail value. They have over 700,000 reviews on Trustpilot, and they have a 4.7 out of 5-star rating, so they do what they say. For example, you can get Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, normally £60, here for just $38.46. Or the new Monster Hunter Wilds is normally £70, here for just $39.43. Or Atomfall, here for just $29.57. You buy a few games through Instant Gaming, and in the long term, it saves you a lot. That way you can have extra money to keep buying other games. And it's super easy to use. You pick your game, pick your platform, make your purchase, and you get your code. Enter your code in on your preferred system, and voila, there it is, ready to go. So if you want to save money on video games, whilst also supporting the channel, click on the first link down in the description. And thank you again for Instant Gaming for sponsoring today's video. Anyway, back to it. Now the side quests are also much better in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. The game has 122 dedicated side quests, but most of these are very detailed. Each will introduce you to new characters, each with their own backstories. There are steps involved that you can keep track of in your journal, and some side quests even have over 25 steps involved. The writing is very detailed in each quest as well, which makes each side story feel as important as the main quest. It follows the same formula that The Witcher 3 did with its side quests being mini stories. It also follows The Witcher 3 in that its side quests have decision making and different ways that they can be approached and finished. There's a quest where you have to go and find some dragon bones. The monk will tell you where they're buried. I decided that I was going to stop at a hotel because it was getting late. I stayed the night, went to the same pit where they were buried and found that they'd already been taken. So my story finished completely different. Whereas if I'd gone directly there, I would have been approached by two groups of men. I could side with the left one or the right one, or I could attack them all out together. Each quest has this level of writing and gives so many different ways to approach them. I saw another YouTuber who accidentally went and dug a hole behind a toilet for no reason in the game, and then later on he was asked to dig that hole, and Henry was like, well, I've already done this. And he's like, you already did it? Why? Just for fun? So the game calculates it all. The game allows true player freedom when it comes to tackling these quests, and the world reacts to the player's actions, making it feel so fulfilling. Some side quests also have branching storylines, meaning that after finishing one side quest, the players may unlock another side quest afterwards. For example, I helped someone out with their bathhouse and helped them get it all set up. Later on, someone told me that that bathhouse was having trouble, so it continues to tell stories even after you finish one quest with one person. Assassin's Creed Shadows does this differently as well. Although the game has some well-written side quests, they're not up to the quality of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. The ones that have dedicated storylines and characters are usually one-dimensional, and there isn't much player freedom at all. It will usually always end the same, and even if it doesn't, the outcome doesn't affect the world much at all. Besides that, the game also has many fetch quests. For example, I met this farmer who told me that he wanted me to help him with bandit trouble in the area, and I was like, this is going to be great, I'm going to go to a camp, tackle these bandits, but all of a sudden, on the top left-hand corner, it said, bandits killed within area 0 out of 100. It was a fetch quest. It wasn't an actual quest, it was literally just kill 100 bandits within this area when you get round to it. To see that type of quest in 2025 is very rare. Besides this, a lot of side quests are mainly just go kill X person, and the formula is repeated so much that it does grow tiring. In summary, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 continues the pattern set by games like Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 77 in that all of the game's quests are as detailed and memorable as the main quests in most other open world games. Some take hours, most offer multiple endings, and all have player freedom as an option. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 definitely exceeds when you compare these two games' side quests together. Another area that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 excels in is in its open world activities. In this game, the player can do the quests and the side quests, but there's also much more that they can do. Players can partake in dice games, blacksmithing, alchemy, gathering herbs, hunting, combat tournaments, horse racing, and they can get a haircut and shave. They can also visit many shops, bathhouses, and other businesses. Players can steal, pickpocket, lockpick, and read books. Almost every NPC can be spoken to, and there are hundreds of random encounters for the player to experience. Essentially, there is so much that the player can do outside of quests, and the world actually feels alive. Players can immerse themselves into the world and learn about the NPCs within it. NPCs have daily schedules, which makes the world feel alive. Each town feels unique, and with so many discoverable locations and points of interest, each different to each other, the player will never run out of things to do. Assassin's Creed Shadows, on the other hand, has one of the weakest open world activity lists that I've ever experienced. Players can either go into big castles, which all look identical, and repeat the same activity. The player has to kill X samurais in order to open the chest at the top of the main tower. They can find temples and either run around to collect the pages or pray at the shrines. They can meditate at some spots by pressing buttons, and they can paint pictures of animals. Although there are some tombs, they are very rare and have similar interiors. Despite having one of the best handcrafted open worlds I've seen in recent gaming, the map is so devoid of life and activities. There is nothing to do besides this. No minigames like in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. NPCs are more window dressing and don't have as detailed schedules as Kingdom Come Deliverance. You can't do anything to these NPCs either, except for attack them, but then the game will kick you out anyway, so don't do that. Towns are more window dressing than real living places, as there's usually only one shop in the entire town, despite many shops appearing to be there. You can go into many buildings, but there's nothing to do in them. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has an entire crime system, whereas Assassin's Creed Shadows doesn't have anything like that. So in this regard, it's not even close, as Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has so much more to do within its world compared to Assassin's Creed Shadows. Then we have the leveling system and role-playing. In Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, there are over 15 skills to level up, from blacksmithing to scholarship to horsemanship to swords, the list goes on. Each skill levels up as you practice it more. So if you keep shooting arrows, you will level up your archery. Keep making potions and your alchemy will go up. Each skill also has perk points which the player can unlock as they improve each skill. This gives players many reasons to partake in different activities outside of quests, and progress feels earned. At the start of the game, Henry is weak and low in each skill. By the end, he is a master. You really feel the difference, as when you start the game, you're poor at fighting. Your sword swings slow, your stamina runs out quick, you make many mistakes in alchemy, but as you level up, you swing your sword quicker, your stamina outlasts opponents, and you can make many errors in alchemy but still yield good results. The game rewards dedication to upskilling and practice. The game also includes many of the skills within dialogue options. For example, when I was doing a quest, one of the dialogue options was related to my drinking skill. So if my drinking skill was low, Henry would fail the speech check, but if I had a high drinking level, I would pass it. Or, for example, when you speak to a stable master, if you have a high horsemanship level, you can say something and they'll believe you. Or if you have a low level in horsemanship, you'll fail the speech check. This means players unlock new dialogue options from upskilling, and it allows the player to roleplay how they want their character to be. It also offers great replay value. On the other hand, Assassin's Creed Shadows sticks to just one main level that you need to upskill. By doing quests, defeating enemies, and completing open world activities, players will gain experience. As they do, they will level up and unlock new skills for both Yosuke and Maui. Enemies in Assassin's Creed Shadows are all level based, and they have a level number above their head. General rule of thumb, if they are a few levels below you, you'll defeat them easily, but if they are 2 or more levels above you, they'll defeat you easily and take hundreds of hits to go down. As a result, players are encouraged to grind up to required levels before exploring certain regions. Gear is also the same and is level based, so players continuously switch gear out. In my opinion, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2's approach and reward for players to level up different skills is a much better approach and feels more earned. In Assassin's Creed Shadows, it feels like the same formula that we've seen for years in other Assassin's Creed games, Hogwarts Legacy, and many other games, and it gets pretty boring pretty quickly. It also means players don't really have much freedom in how they want to spend their time, as there isn't any reward for using certain weapons or doing certain things. So, due to the extensive options in leveling with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, this game is a clear winner in the RPG aspect. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a true RPG. Assassin's Creed Shadows is, I guess, an action RPG. Now, just to also touch on combat, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is the game that I prefer. Due to its one-on-one setup, each fight feels unique. Players have to study their opponent, watch their moves, and wait for the right time to strike. Every battle feels like a game of chess, and depending on what weapons the enemy uses, where he's wearing his armor, or if he's using a ranged weapon, each fight must be treated differently. Like real life, fights can go from 0 to 100 real quick. You could be winning a fight easily, but slip up even for a second or get complacent, you can quickly have it turn on you. This type of combat means the player has to always be engaged and focused and cannot take any fight for granted. They have to lock in and zone into the fight, pay attention. Assassin's Creed Shadows is quite the opposite, and it's mainly hacking the enemy as many times as you can. Red means dodge and yellow means block. Enemies in Assassin's Creed Shadows are very spongy, so you have to hit them many times. Unlike in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, there is no stamina gauge to manage, so you can dodge as much as you want. It gets repetitive, and it is easy to zone out after a while. It does have some decent stealth options with Maui in regards to light determining player visibility, but Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 also offers that option, but with more depth, as closed player factor. But Assassin's Creed combat has been the same for many years now, and not much has changed. Although the combat serves its purpose, it hasn't changed in many years. But I can also see why some people would prefer Assassin's Creed Shadows combat over Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. This is more of a personal preference, as I prefer the combat in Kingdom Come Deliverance, but some may find it difficult, slow, or methodical. They may also not enjoy the fact that the player starts out weak and prefer the level-based enemies like in Assassin's Creed Shadows. When you start Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, you're easily beaten, so that can make many players confused and feel like they're just not good at the game. Whereas when you play Assassin's Creed Shadows, the big number above their head lets you know if you're in a fight that you can actually win, so it constantly tells the player what they're doing right and wrong. Either way, I can see why someone would prefer one combat system versus the other. For me personally, I prefer the combat in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And finally, the last thing that we need to compare is the story of the companies and fan respect. Ubisoft are a video game developer worth over $1 billion. They've been around since 1986, and during that time have released over 80 games. A lot of giant open world games can take years and years to make. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 took 7 years to make. Red Dead Redemption 2 took 8 years. But Ubisoft are able to make 3 to 4 giant open world games each year, with the Far Cry series, Assassin's Creed series, and other games like Star Wars Outlaws. Usually they're able to do this as they tend to sacrifice depth for scope. If you haven't seen it yet, check out my Ubisoft video which explains more, but essentially their open worlds are full of checklist activities and copy-paste landmarks. This allows them to build a big world quickly. Whereas Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 or Witcher 3 have a huge open world with hundreds of well-written unique side quests, Ubisoft games will usually have the same copy-paste activities scattered across the map. Their games are also stuffed with microtransactions, even in their offline single-player games. This has upset many gamers as it shows a lack of awareness, and it seems their game designs are to make people want to buy the microtransactions. For example, exploring the entire map of Shadows is time-consuming. In order to build your base, you need resources, which can take hours to accumulate. Assassin's Creed Shadows offers both options for a fee, taking away the busy work. This makes you feel that maybe they designed it this way on purpose, but that's just a conspiracy. But this is the same company who told their fans that fans better get used to not owning their games. They're also the same company who call gamers ignorant if they don't buy their games, charge the maximum price for the games, and refuse to take on feedback. Despite many gamers providing feedback to the studio on their past releases, Ubisoft just ignore it completely and keep making the same games with the same formula year after year, despite fan frustration. As an example of their lack of awareness, when Elden Ring dropped, many of the devs from the studio of Ubisoft went online to vent how bad Elden Ring looked. Like, here's the tweets on the screen. They literally just said, even though everybody else is loving this game, it ain't right, you shouldn't be enjoying this. Just shows that they're not really understanding it. Even the whole, we need to sell a lot of this game or we're going to go out of business, seems like a shady tactic to me. And then on the other hand, we have Warhorse Studios. In 2011, Vavra co-founded Warhorse Studios and wrote Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. He wanted to create a realistic, story-driven RPG set in medieval Europe, which was a stark contrast to the fantasy-heavy RPGs that were dominating the market. Now, despite the uniqueness of the concept, he struggled to find funding. Publishers were skeptical about the project's marketability, especially since it lacked mythical creatures or magic. So after failing to secure a publisher, Vavra and his team at Warhorse Studios turned to crowdfunding. They launched a Kickstarter campaign in January of 2014, asking for £300,000 to prove that there was demand for the game. The campaign was a huge success, raising £1.1 million from over 35,000 backers. The early funding was critical in securing additional private investment and proving the concept's viability. Backers were promised rewards like early access to the game, art books, which helped to build a loyal community even before the game launched. But no matter what, they managed to get Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 out. And it did really well, selling over 8 million copies. Then they got to work on Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Despite many people criticizing aspects of the first game's realism, its methodical setup, Warhorse stayed true to their formula. They refused to compromise their game design just to please a broader audience, and they stayed the course. They basically made Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 just with better graphics and improvements. This shows that they are dedicated to their true fans, and aren't just in it for the money. And just a few things I want to emphasize about their studio. First of all, they love their fans. They listen to all feedback and take it on board in order to grow, unlike some. They have conventions all the time and meet and greets with their fans. They also remembered their humble roots. They vowed that individuals who funded their initial crowdfunding on certain tiers would receive a copy of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 completely for free, as a way of saying thank you. This shows such appreciation to their fans. Warhorse Studios have shown that they've not forgotten their humble beginnings and appreciate those that helped them get there. They don't have to do this, but they did. So on one hand, you have a company worth billions who squeeze microtransactions into their games, tell fans that they better get used to not owning their high-priced games, and ignore all fan feedback. If you don't love their games, they attack you. Now they're on the brink of bankruptcy and they take no accountability and just blame toxic fans. On the other hand, you have a studio that didn't even exist 10 years ago. Funded by fans, they made the game they promised. They love their fans and do everything for them. They always listen to feedback and always show appreciation. Warhorse are gamers and fans of gaming like us. Ubisoft are accountants in an office just looking at income spreadsheets. I know which company I prefer. What's crazy is that we shouldn't even be able to have this discussion. Ubisoft have been established for decades. They have far more staff than Warhorse, more finances, more established IPs, more advertising budget, more Eurogamer fans. Their Assassin's Creed Shadows game cost $250 million to make, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 only cost $40 million. It's like McDonald's versus Av's Burger Shack. The big guy should always win. But as I have clearly outlined, they didn't. Now Warhorse have established themselves as one of the best studios in gaming and are working on new IPs, whereas Ubisoft are having to sell ownership to survive. Ubisoft may have more money, more connections, more staff, more power, but you know what they don't have? Love for gaming. No passion for this art that we call gaming. The fact that you're watching a YouTube video now about a debate on video games. Why? Because we love gaming. We love the emotions it can trigger, the memories it can leave, the ability to escape the mundane real world and live in a fantasy land for just a while. It's real life magic, and companies like Larian Studios, CD Projekt Red and Warhorse understand this, as they're one of us. They made a game that they would love to play, because they will play it. It is a game made for fans of gaming by fans of gaming. Whereas Ubisoft have now become a corporate structured business model who value profits over everything, if you look at Ubisoft's track record, you'll see that their game design and intuition has declined over time, but their ability to abstract money from their fans has improved over time. Now, I've seen a lot of people online saying that the Assassin's Creed franchise has been declining over time, but it's not just that. It's that gaming standards, particularly when it comes to RPGs, have risen. Witcher 3 pushed the industry forward with its amazing writing, world building and player choice, and left such an impact that Assassin's Creed changed forever, as they literally tried to copy that game with Origins, Odyssey and recent Assassin's Creed titles. That being said, they never managed to reach that level, primarily because of their writing. Then more games came out, like Red Dead Redemption 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Cyberpunk 2077, Baldur's Gate 3, Elden Ring, and now Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. These games have raised standards and expectations for what an RPG can be. That is why Ubisoft games appear more bland now than before. They're not. They're just the same as usual. It's just that fans now expect more. Especially when you consider the great games that I've just referenced were made by studios with a fraction of the budget and reputation of Ubisoft. That is why so many people get upset at Ubisoft, as it's clear they don't put as much effort into their games compared to other studios, yet still often they make more money. Their games look and play like their company is set up. Bland, sterile and boring. Just like numbers on a spreadsheet, their writing is safe, boxes are ticked, and they lack respect for their fans' time. They prioritize quantity over quality, both in their game design and publishing schedule. That is why their games feel so devoid of heart, whereas games like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 feel full of life. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has no right to win this debate. They shouldn't even be at the same table as Ubisoft. But due to one team dedicating their passion to their fans, and one doing the opposite, they both ended up in the same ring, and Ubisoft had to throw in the towel and admit defeat, even if Eurogamer says that they won. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is the better of the two games because they put more effort into giving the fans as much value as they could, putting fan satisfaction above financial greed and sticking to their vision. Ubisoft prioritized profit over everything. Remember the tortoise and the hare story? Ubisoft were miles ahead for years, but Warhorse have not only caught up, but have now taken over and appear to have won the race. And as a fan of gaming, I have to admit, I'm happy to see this. AAA studios can keep telling us that we should want the slop that they serve, but as long as we vote with our wallets, we will always get the final say. Anyway, this dragged on way longer than I wanted it to, so sorry, really appreciate you sticking around. For me, this wasn't even a close call, but I am a little biased, but what do you guys think? Do you agree with my opinion? Do you think Shadows was the better of the two? Do you think Eurogamer are really playing games? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please give it the thumbs up, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I'm Av Gaming, where we do video game analysis, identifying what makes great games great and what could make good games great as well. Thanks for watching. Av out.